Hello, everybody. This is the Ghoulish Gamer here, bringing you part 3 of our first impressions of all the new Mega Evolution Pokemon coming from Legends ZA and the DLC. So, how I had been doing this, if you haven't seen the other videos, definitely watch those. But we basically are looking at every single one of the Pokemon just in terms of their stats and what we know. Now, not all the abilities are confirmed yet. I know there was a leak, so we're taking more of a deep dive too on those Pokemon that have already been confirmed and are in the game. But just still kind of giving my first impressions on the other Pokemon too, based on their stats. So without any further ado, let's hop into part 3.
Pyroar is not in the game yet, and I'm not 100% sure what its ability is going to be. But it looks like we're going to be 126 speed and 129 special attack. I think if this doesn't have an ability that gives like some sort of damage modifier, this is pretty underwhelming. But looking at the stats, I would imagine that's probably going to get something to modify its damage output. So we'll really just have to wait and see what this Pokemon's capable of. I believe AZ's Floette is accessible in the game and is usable right now. So 102 speed, definitely respectable here. And then you've got massive 148 special defense and 155 special attack. So really excited to see that. I'm blanking on what your signature move is too, but I feel like it's very good. So somebody, if you know off the top of your head, feel free to put a comment. I will pin that, or I'll try to post this as a pinned comment later. But I think that this has a lot of potential here. 74 on the hit points and 87 on the defense. You're pretty vulnerable on that side. Scizor is in the game right now, so you're going to be pretty vulnerable to something like that. But again, you have to respect that for what it is. Massive special attack stat, really decent special bulk, and then also a respectable 102 speed. Meowstic is going to be really interesting. So I'm not sure if there's a difference between the male and the female. Somebody can let me know too. And again, I can always post anything that I forget here in a pinned comment. But it looks like we're going to have 124 speed. I believe we get, Trace is the ability. Is it Trace or is it Trace? Okay. So we're going to be able to copy the opponent's ability, which is kind of cool. I do like Trace as an ability, and there's some tricky ways we can do that. But again, having a Mega Evolve to get that, it's going to be a little bit trickier to utilize. Now, 143 special attack is definitely decent. Do we get Nasty? We do get Nasty Plot, so decent setup option. We should get like stored power as well, I believe. There's definitely some things that this Pokemon can do. I kind of feel the same way about this that I do about like Mega Chimecho. Like, there's some cool things that it does. It's definitely more of like a faster, sweepy Pokemon than like a physically like more defensive setup Pokemon. But again, I think Mega Clefable is just a much better store power user than this. So we'll just have to wait and see what people are able to pull off with that. Mega Malamar is not in the game. I have no idea what this guy is going to do, but those Mega stats are fairly underwhelming. I think we'll just really have to wait and see what its ability is before we make any judgments on what this Pokemon can do. Same thing with Mega Barbaracle, not in the game yet. I'm not sure what its ability is going to be. I do like that it's a Shell Smash user with a massive 88 speed stat and really powerful 140 attack. I'm wondering if it's going to keep the Tough Claws, because if it does, if it keeps Tough Claws with that combination in Shell Smash, that looks pretty absurd to me. I've already been using Mega Blastoise now that it has access to the Shell Smash. And Mega Blastoise only has a 78 speed stat, so be able to outspeed that and then doing that ridiculous amount of damage is going to be a absolute ton of fun. I'm really excited to see what this guy can do here. We have Mega Dragalge here. Again, not in the game, but you get a nice little bump to your special defense, which this Pokemon's already a really good special defense wall. 132 on the special attack is interesting. Don't know what this Pokemon's ability is going to be. One of the things you really struggle with Dragalge is there's just no good like recovery options. You might have access to something like a Soul Dew, but other than that, you're pretty much relying on rest. So even though you have a nice special defense stat, you don't really get to utilize it well. You don't really get to utilize it as a Toxic Staller Pokemon. And now not even having access to the Black Sludge or the leftovers too, because you're committed to that Mega Stone, I feel like that's not going to be very good. But again, we'll have to wait and see what its ability ends up being. Mega Halucha, I'm very interested in. Do we get the no guard? It is in the game now, I believe. Yes, no guard. So that's interesting. That is really interesting here. Do we have cross chops? Kind of cool. Do we get the dynamic punch? No dynamic punch. Trying to think what other moves. High jump kick. Oh, that's cool. High jump kick actually with the no guards, really really cool. Stone Edge is going to be awesome. That might be the extent of what we get out of it. We'll have to take a deeper dive here, but definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. Base Hawlucha already is a super powerful Pokemon. There's a lot of really cool things you can do for it, but being able to Sword Stance, 118 speed is decent. Obviously, we won't have access on Burden anymore to push that further, but 137 physical attack stat. You have that like a really decent stat spread that I think that with the no guard, with being able to Sword Stance, and then go for those really powerful attacks, that's got a lot of potential. Not going to be one of the best Mega Evolution Pokemon in the game, in my opinion, but definitely a respectable one. Mega Zygarde, not in the game, and obviously this will be a restricted legendary. I don't know how this is going to work with base Zygarde's ability. I don't know if that's going to have to proc first, so you go into the 100% form, and then from there you can Mega Evolve. But that looks absolutely bonkers here with the hit points, and then also a massive special attack stat to match. I'm assuming too, you're going to get your new signature move, so we'll have to wait and see what that does too in Pokemon Champions, but that will be definitely a very interesting one to have. Mega Crabominable is also in the game. Now we get access to Iron Fist, so this is kind of interesting. I do believe our Ice Hammer and our signature move, and also our Hammer Arm, which we also have access to. Do we not have Hammer Arm? That blows my mind that we have Ice Hammer and not Hammer Arm. So that's a thing, I guess. It's a little bit disappointing. I do believe no Belly Drum either, so we only have. Yeah, I don't know. That throws me off a little bit, actually. It's pretty much only going to be able to run off of Trick Room. You're very, very weak with that Ice type defensively, so I don't think this Pokemon's going to do much, but we'll have to wait and see what this is capable of doing. Now, the cool thing about Crabominable, though, is that in doubles, you actually have access to... Oh, why can I not think of the ability? Is it Breaking Point? Whatever the ability is, where if you take a critical hit, now it's going to max out your attack stat, like a Belly Drum. So if you have a Pokemon that can do that to you, like a Freeze Dry, and then... Or not Freeze Dry, sorry, the Ice type move that always critical hits, or something like an Urshifu, for example, Flower Trick, those kinds of moves. You can go max attack, then we can get a Trick Room up, and then you can start kind of sweeping from there, and then you just get a little bit of extra damage boost too. So with 157 attack, and then the Iron Fist on a Trick Room team, that's going to be almost unstoppable outside of Priority Mons. So kind of interesting, but I think in singles it's pretty underwhelming here. Mega Golisopod is very, very interesting. Not in the game quite yet, but we actually switched to the Bug Steel typing. And then I believe our ability is no longer going to be emergency exit. So not being able to be forced out once we drop and hit points is going to be awesome. I already love Golisopod as a Pokemon with that massive attack set and those really nice defenses. You can do things like a really powerful First Impression, Aqua Jet, Sucker Punch, things like that is how I used to use it. So you can kind of just play around with the priority, even though that ability is really weak. But now being able to Mega Evolve, get some extra stats on top of your already incredible stats here, and then just play the game naturally too. Potentially you could have something. I could see them giving this Pokemon like Tough Claws, which I think would be absurd. But it'll be really interesting to see what this Pokemon gets. And we know Bug Steel is an absurd typing already from things like Scizor. Just really, really great defensive type, and we're only going to be weak to fire. So really, really excited to see what this Pokemon is capable of. Drampa is a really interesting one. I believe this one is in the game here. So Mega Drampa getting access to the Berserk, same as before it Mega Evolves. It's nice that you still maintain the Berserk, You have a really, really low speed stat, but respectable defenses, and then just that massive 160 special attack. I feel like this is kind of underwhelming, honestly. I'd almost rather run like Berserk with Throat Spray, for example. I believe it has a hyper voice. Yeah. And then going kind of that route too. That can be good on a Trick Room team. So kind of underwhelming in my opinion. 160 on the special attack is nice, but nothing super broken when you have to commit your Mega Evolution to it. So, Mega Magearna, obviously mythical Pokemon. It's going to be a while before we have access to that, but Magearna is already a pretty decent Pokemon here. Really, really good Steel Fairy typing, too, which we know is very, very strong. And then you get a massive 170 special attack here. I think you get some really cool signature moves, too, but I don't know off the top of my head. And again, it's not in the game yet, so we'll just have to wait and see what this Pokemon is capable of, but definitely will probably be a very fun one here. I did hear about Mega Zeraora, and potentially it could be getting speed boost, which I laugh about because he already has one of the highest speed stats in the game with 153. So there's going to be very few Pokemon that already outspeed you naturally. So if you do end up getting the speed boost ability, I just find that a little bit funny. Still very, very massive attack stat and special attack stat. You've got a lot of good options. You can run as a mixed attacker if you want. You can set up. You've got some setup options here. I know we have bulk up. Do we have... it's not going to show us in this view, but we'll have to wait and see what this Pokemon does. But again, you really can't go wrong with a 153 speed stat and then also those massive offensive stats as well. Mega Phalanx is not in the game yet, but we already know just from looking at these stats as well as its signature move, No Retreat, where we kind of get an Omni boost, but then we're not able to switch out, that's going to be able to be pretty decent here. I think going +1 on your speed with a base 100 speed stat is very, very respectable. You've got a really, really solid 135 attack stat. I actually like pure fighting type 2 as a defensive typing, and so just being able to get the Omni boost I think is going to be really, really good on this Pokemon. I'll probably end up running this like max hit point, max speed, no retreat, and then if it gets access to the Drain Punch, we're not going to be able to see it yet because it's not in the game, but I think that could have a lot of potential here. I'm very, very excited for Mega Phalanx. Mega Scovillain. We get a new ability called Spicy Spray here, and let me just cross-reference them. A little bit rusty on what this does. Spicy Spray. When a Pokemon, when this Pokemon takes damage from a move, it burns the attacker. Okay. That's cool. So the funny thing with this is I would probably see myself running this as more like a gimmick where you go max hit points, max defense. You might protect in the very first turn and Mega Evolve just to safely get into your Mega Evolution. Swap out. This would be really good with like regenerated Pokemon in the back too. And then if they happen to come in with a physical threat, now they have to constantly play the mind game of if they go and throw down a physical move, are you going to swap into the Mega Scovillain and then immediately get that burn? If you're max hit point, max defense, we've even seen this for Pokemon like Volcarona, for example. You're already strong enough to take a hit. The Grass Fire typing is a very interesting one. It's not horrible defensively. You get some nice energy there. So I think this has actually got some potential. I don't think it's like broken by any stretch of the imagination. The other really interesting thing is you get Moody beforehand. So I could see there being a world where you have that as like a contingency. Again, it's tricky to get set up with the Moody already, especially if you don't have like the leftovers on there to help you with that or a Chesto Berry or something. But I could see there being a world kind of like what we talked about too with the Mega Victory Bell earlier or the Mega Clefable where you have that Mega Evolution as a contingency to where you're going to try to get set up with the Moody, you're going to try to put pressure that way. But then if they come in with a physical attacker, if you're worried about being threatened, you can always Mega Evolve, catch them off guard after you've already got some of those stat boosts, and then just kind of play around from the game that way too. So really, really interesting. I don't think it's going to be broken by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely a fun one. Just kind of a little bit disappointing that its physical defenses are so weak still, even when it Mega Evolves, but I think if they made it too strong, it would be absolutely broken. So I understand why they held off on that. Now, Glamora is already a super strong Pokemon. I love Glamora. I used it a little bit back in Scarlet and Violet singles. Getting a nice boost here to your special attack, and then also your speed stat is bonkers, and then a little bit of boost to your defenses, it looks like, as well. 101's nice, just a slightly speed creep out any like base 100 speed stat Pokemon, which we see a lot with our Mega Evolutions, like our prior ones from Gen 6 and 7. And then adaptability to getting to increase the damage output of your stab options is bonkers. We had talked about how good special attacking ground types are because there's not very many of them in the game, and why I think Mega Garchomp C is going to be so strong. The same thing is true for rock type attackers too. So rock type is such a good offensive typing. Just be able to hit so many important common typings that you see in the game for super effective damage. And then also to be able to do it with something like a power gem. It's not going to be as good with like the meteor beam because we can't use power herb and also have the mega stone. But potentially if you want to set up with the meteor beam too, if you think you can survive an attack, get boosted, then drop down that damage. Now you're +1 special attack, and you're able to hit with the adaptability and stuff like that. Would be bonkers too. So I think there's going to definitely be some options. I think most people are just going to be running this timid, max speed, max special attack, and you just have to respect it for what it is. It's also got some really decent coverage options too. You've got like Dazzling Gleam, Earth Power, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, even Memento too, if you wanted to go that route here with some nice tech. So absolutely bonkers Pokemon. You have Ancient Power too if you want to fish for Omniboost. So yeah, I think this Pokemon is going to be absurd. Tatsugiri is not in the game yet. I don't know if this Mega Tatsugiri is going to have any kind of interaction with Dondozo. I could see that being the case, but we'll just have to wait and see what its ability does once it Mega Evolves. From a single standpoint, that won't matter necessarily, but 135 in the special attack, pretty weak defensively still, I'd say, especially for Mega. Very lackluster speed. It would need a miracle with its moveset and stuff like that, and some really interesting tech to be able to actually be viable in singles. I know people are going to run it in singles just to be goofy, but nothing really to talk about here. And then last but not least, Baxcalibur is not in the game yet, but I think Baxcalibur is already a great Pokemon here. You already have, so it does not look like your speed stat's getting boosted at all, or maybe by 1 point. I can't remember if Baxcalibur is 87 or 86 speed. But be able to Dragon Dance with that really respectable 87 speed tier where you're speed creeping, like outspeeding Dragonite, for example, which is going to be pretty much your best Dragon Dancer in the game. With that massive 175 attack stat, and then also your signature move too, just hitting 120 Dragon type stab attacks too for a broad range of coverage, but then not being locked into it with something like an Outrage too, is absolutely bonkers. You also have a massive 115 hit points and 117 defense and 101 special defense respectively. That is absurd. That is absolutely absurd. So I think this Pokemon is going to be phenomenal. Dragon Dance user. It'll be really fun to see what we can do with Mega Baxcalibur. That is all of our new Mega Evolution Pokemon. So thank you so much for watching. Obviously, I had to break this up into multiple videos here, but super excited to see what these Mega Evolution Pokemon will do to stir up the metagame. And I will see you in the next one. This is Ghoulish Gamer out.